Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCS Academy. Our matchup today, CLG versus 100 Thieves, and it was a hot showdown, Joshi. A little bit of back and forth, but ultimately 100 Thieves did have control.
They had control from start to finish, Eric, and I'm excited to see how they're going to be able to play it during this next game, because the only real criticism I had of them throughout the entire game was that they were fighting in poor geographical locations. They kept walking into choke points where they would get split up by all of the AoE crowd control that we saw coming out from CLG, and it led them to taking some fights that really were not in their favor. But that was really my only criticism. They looked good in every single lane. They had a lot of pressure. They were able to play around. They got basically every turret uncontested. So if they can clean that up, it should be a much cleaner game too.
Yeah, I mean, from the early game, it was a lot of control coming out of 100 Thieves, and just CLG constantly trying to respond to what 100 Thieves were doing on the map. To be fair, one of the points you did make was the grouping that we saw come out from 100 Thieves. You can see right there, starting off with the early game, just the beautiful setup there to be able to get a kill early on for 100 Thieves, but this is what we're talking about right here. The grouping, playing to CLG's win condition with all this AoE going off, giving CLG windows of opportunity.
And it's really tough to play against things like the Victor and Ziggs if you don't actually have natural threat against them. And, you know, typically if you're just going to be going with a straight front-to-back team fight, you got to dive through Nautilus, Volibear, and Wukong. And there's so much crowd control between all of these members that you're basically never going to do it. But if you're able to find different flanks, if you're able to take them by surprise, as we saw a little bit later on from Kenvi in particular, you're going to have a much better time. You're going to find these kills, and you're going to be able to convert it into all of these objective takes. The one other thing that, you know, we haven't really talked about a whole lot throughout this entire thing is just as we watch these Baron takes come through, we're seeing that CLG isn't really respecting the speed with which 100 Thieves can actually do them. And before I let you respond to that, this right here might have been my favorite thing the entire game. Not that 100 Thieves were backing away, but the fact that they said this fight in this location is probably not a good thing. We want to back away until we can get to a better spot to actually take it.
Oh, just watching Kenvi come in, it's kind of like watching Shark Week on Discovery Channel. You just see the fin coming up and you know that this person on camera is now doomed. Kenvi looks spectacular on that Diana. Some of the ganks he did, some of the flanks he did more than anything else, just instantly deleting people in some of these fights. Yeah, my god.
I want to let you know I'm saving you from the pun. I was going to say that Finn is on the CLG LCS roster, not the Academy one, but it might be a little bit too late
You
for
didn't
that.
save me from it if you say it right now.
It's okay. We're cursing not just the timeline, but we're also cursing everybody with these wonderful dad jokes, as we are going to be seeing... Are we not going to be swapping sides? I guess you don't have to. We actually have seen a number of series where you aren't necessarily going to be playing both sides of the map, but typically most teams will agree that one side is better than the other, where it looks like, at least for this one, we might be in a spot where both teams are choosing to stay on one side of the map in order to try and get some kind of draft advantage.
That is interesting to me. I am kind of used to just one side than the other. I'm curious how this is going to shape up, though, because just looking at the draft as a whole, blue side, 100 Thieves were able to get a lot of what they wanted right out the gates. You know, the Viego pick being the first, into the Diana, into the Lucian. Those were incredibly potent to the way the early to mid game really did play out.
I think we're going to see something pretty similar, honestly, if we do end up staying on the same sides, because, I mean, CLG, they seemed content with what they were actually picking up. I thought that all the individual picks were okay, like they seemed kind of cohesive, but it wasn't necessarily something where they were able to do, have a lot of proactive agency, a lot of quick turns during a lot of these things. If they can shift a little bit towards that, where they can have a little bit more efficiency, a little bit more volatility and variability in the way that they want to play, I think it's going to be very helpful for them as we start looking towards Game 2.
So I'm curious how this Game 2 draft is going to shape up in the long run. I do want more playmakers onto Thien, especially after seeing that Wukong last game. He was the sole reason Luger had died at any point of this game. His only death was because Thien decided a 1v4. And it worked. So I definitely want to see him on more champions like that, and I want to see CLG go, I guess, a little bit more top-heavy. It is like huge contention to get through Tenacity and Kenvi and their synergy, but I do see hope in that top side. You talked about the end being one of the brighter sides of CLG. I can see that with that last match.
I think if they start doing it with something that is a bit more aggressive coming out from Kiel, instead of banning away the Xin Zhao, maybe picking it up for yourself. If you have some of these more aggressive duelists that bring crowd control and are able to do it with a little bit greater range than the Volley Bear, I think we could have a real 2v2 coming out from these players. And it is a real opportunity for CLG to find some advantage, because as we saw, even in what I would call a pretty decent matchup in the bottom side, they weren't able to generate an advantage with Katsuri and hooks.
And Xin Zhao I could definitely see going through. The main one that Kiel has been playing a load of has been Rumble, and let's face it, it's kind of like a couple seasons ago when it's like, hey, you're on Sejuani duty, enjoy. Now, hey, you're on Rumble duty. Champions getting locked into this. But yeah, I would definitely like to see something along the lines of the Rumble or the Xin Zhao, or, you know, cross our fingers, maybe we can finally see the Kiel Fiddlesticks again.
Maybe. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of bans towards it because it is one of those things that you don't really get scrim practice against. Nobody else plays the Fiddlesticks except for Schernfire, so you don't really have a lot of opportunity to really get practice against it as a team, and it is one of those things that can punish uncoordinated teams really heavily, so I'd be surprised if 100 Thieves like he'll pick it up.
I wonder what CLG can get out of this draft opting to go to red side, because let's look at some of the stuff they have picked in the past. They do like going for the Viego and Gwen anytime they can get it. RJS has been pretty proficient on the rise in the past as we do head into Champ Select. And oh, woe is me, Fiddlesticks is banned as can be.
Unlucky. The Gwen is taken off the map, as you said, taken away from mostly Tenacity, but that is a triple flex between the top jungle and mid. Nocturne, I mean, this is looking very similar to what we saw in Game 1, so the question will be, are they going to be shifting up? Nope, Xin Zhao also taken off the table. What was his last ban? It was Tristana. Yeah, it's Tristana, right? Taken off by 100 Thieves in order to remove it from TN and RJS, and yeah, they're going to be continuing with the exact same trend. We might be just be getting a salty run back at this point. Nope. Okay, we're switching it up. No Viego is going to be going over to 100 Thieves, and now we get to see how they want to pivot. It's not the only strong champion on the patch. Obviously, a lot of things that can pick Divine Sunder are good, but we'll see which one 100 Thieves wants to grab for themselves, or if they want to pick up the Ziggs.
You know, the hottest flavors, Viego and Gwen taken off the map. That does leave up the Lulu, though, who's been a very highly contested pick next to Karma for the more supportive role flexing. But CLG are very happy to lock in the triple flex, having the Lee Sin for their side. So far, pretty much as par for the course for both of these squads.
It's interesting to see this coming through, right? Because it is a very big pivot. Lulu is particularly good with, you know, auto attackers, right? You come up with things like the Xin Zhao or the Kindred as some of the big things that you typically play alongside the Lulu. Xin Zhao's already taken off the table, and the Kindred might be playable here, but it is not super exciting up against something like a Lee Sin, because you throw down the Lamb's Respite, you get kicked out of it, and then you just die anyway. So I'm curious how 100 Thieves are going to be adapting to this. It's a surprising first pick, but it is clearly triple flexible.
This is your Lamb's Respite. This is my Lamb's Respite. I always gotta love it when you see that. Gragas is another one that has very nice interaction like that. CLG Academy gonna lock in the Nautilus this time, and you know it saw some success. It was all right. 100 Thieves Academy, however, they're looking at that Kindred just like he called it, and they are happy taking that. I mean, it is a very situational moment for Thien to go in and try and Lamb's Respite, just kick someone out of that. There are better uses for the Dragon's Rage. This is more of that skirmish usage, so I don't think it completely isolates the Kindred just yet, as Braum gets locked in as well.
It doesn't completely counter it, right? But it does give you a couple of options during a lot of these fights. And as we look at the compositions, once again, you see an interesting committal from 100 Thieves. They are very committed to this style of taking these really long, brawly fights where it just takes like 30 seconds for anybody to die at the first time, but once you do and you start tipping the scales, it's very difficult for the fight to get turned around. Whereas CLG, they're a little bit faster in their fight. Lee Sin wants to pick somebody out, and if they can separate one member of 100 Thieves from the rest, they're going to be in a much stronger position overall. So I think there's still a lot of play in both of these drafts. You don't want to be stacking up against Nephilios, but you do want to make sure that you can actually kill him, because right now there's no real way for 100 Thieves to ever get to Katsuri.
Now getting on to the second phase of the draft. Top lane focuses coming out of CLG Academy. Going straight for that control mage that RJS was able to wreak a little havoc with. Victor getting taken off the map. Still got 2 more bans to go. Curious how this is going to shape up. You know, I'm definitely focusing on that top side a lot with that Tenacity versus the end matchup.
I think it's going to be really pivotal how both teams are able to play that. The Lee Sin is obviously super flexible between a bunch of lanes, and typically if it's available, you look at Nocturne as the primary top lane counter in particular to Lee Sin, but that's what's banned away by 100 Thieves, and now they're just trying to make sure that RGS can't play any of these backline DPS characters, but unfortunately there are just too many of them. Like, Ziggs is still available, but you can just play and throw a lot of damage down onto 100 Thieves.
Yeah, but that Victor from last game was pretty nice to see. It gave a lot of situations where CLG could find their comeback. 100 Thieves Academy are going to lock in the Varus, so we are going to have that double ADC once again. I mean, we're expecting it with the Kindred locked in, but that is a lot of map control to come through. You got the Chain of Corruptions, Lamb's Respite to zone and stay safe, Glacial Fissure, as well as the Wild Growth. Just need one more thing to really top it off for 100 Thieves, and over in the Mundo.
Ooh,
and they're
they
gonna
are going to be locking it. All right, okay, so 100 Thieves are going to win every single fight that somebody doesn't die instantly. The problem is, it's going to be very hard to not die instantly up against the CLG roster. You have a lot of displacement abilities between the Lee Sin and the Gragas, and even the Nautilus can move people outside of the Lamb's Respite if you do catch somebody on the edge. And with the Vladimir coming through, you have options to try and just burst people after the Lamb's Respite has already been used. He just comes through and he just is a little bit more patient and blows everybody up at the very end. So this 100 Thieves composition, just as I said in game 1, I like it, but it is hard to play. And we'll see if 100 Thieves are going to be up to the task.
It's hard to play, but I do see a lot of flexibility with it in the way you can use this, all these kids over on the side of 100 Thieves. And meanwhile, for CLG Academy, it really does feel like they're going for a similar type of path. You have lots of AoE, but this time there's much more disruption. You don't have the Wukong, which is sad enough. I did love seeing Thien on that. But the Lee Sin will provide quite a bit of dominance when it comes to control over the top side of the map.
To give them a lot of freedom. Mundo, while he has a little bit of a stronger early game than he did prior to the rework, is still going to be struggling a lot to contain all of Tien. And I'm expecting that it is going to result in a lot of priority, a lot of tempo coming out from CLG's top side of the map, and potentially, if they use it, they can prevent Kenvi from farming this top side. We might potentially, if they're able to play with it effectively, see extended vertical jungling.
Joshi, Mundo looks so good with his rework. I just can't get over how silly it is.
Dude, he's hot now. Like, one of the reasons why I like playing this guy was he's just this big, like, hunk of a dude who's, like, kind of just like this big blob, and it's like, man, I can't compete with this. He's shredded.
Oh no, he's hot!
Alright, well, he's going to be walking around as... Man...
I knew I was gonna give respect to those references, man.
I haven't looked at this skin a whole lot. Typically, like, I'm a corporate Mundo player, so just, like, seeing this now as he just, like, walks around on the Mundo is just, like, something else entirely. But they are walking through. We saw Kenvi just hop the wall, and now they're probably expecting that Tenacity was going to be backing away, but they are going to just pick up this red buff, and we'll see if CLG is going to actively respond to this. They saw that Tenacity walked over, and the only way that they will have more information than that is if Tenacity walks in such a way that's obviously he came from the top side. Or, I guess Kenvi can also just, like, walk over this ward. That would also give them a pretty good idea.
So there was a ping from CLG towards the blue buff of 100 Thieves. I'm not sure if they really know what's going on.
Oh, he does have
will be
E!
able to grab the big raptor. Sadly for Kill, Z will not land on it, and counter jungling successful so far from Kenvi.
Wow, that was big. Yeah, you saw they had no idea. Keel body slams over the wall and suddenly is not in a position to take the fight whatsoever. It is just going to be 2 camps cleanly picked up, and Keel hasn't even grabbed a buff just quite yet. He's looking for a gank.
Wow.
He is so far behind.
He's still going to go for the gank, though. This is very, very high risk for a kill. RJS bringing the damage in, but Ryoma's bringing it back. The Ignite is ticking. Kill will still continue the chase, but Ryoma's going to get away, and that is a lot of time wasted for Kill.
Wow, that is disaster coming through. They have to find something quickly. Hooks tries to find some damage onto Luger, and they do, but Keel now down a couple of extra camps, and Kenvi might even be in a spot to come harass him. Look at where he is. He's picked up 3 camps, and now he's chilling to come over and try and take the blue.
And you have bot lane priority for 100 Thieves, so they can bring their bot lane there as well. This is just a clinical bullying coming out of Kenvi, but meanwhile in the top lane, Thien versus Tenacity getting lower and lower. 100 Thieves towards the blue side. They're sitting pretty.
Okay, at least Keel, I mean, you can tell based on the CS numbers that have been picked up. Keel was able to pick up his own blue buff, but now he has to walk towards the top half of the map, and at least he wins the flip here, right? He is going to be taking this down as Tenacity and Tien.
Oh, they're swinging.
They're
swinging, but it's gonna be Tenacity who's gonna get the better of that trade. The 1v1, the end goes down. Tenacity, Mundo's only getting bigger, baby.
Oh, that is not good. Tien's not supposed to be losing this at this point in the game, but Keel's up here. He's level 2, does tick over to level 3. Might have an opportunity to come towards the top lane. As we also see RJS up here, they're trying to make sure that Keel isn't entirely removed from the game, but it is such a difficult task. You have to commit multiple members just to make sure that he can farm.
You know what kind of messes with me, Joshi? Actually, gotta hold that thought, because this 1v1, man, this is... You hate to see it, Joshi. You hate to see it.
Right? I mean, you have to remember that Tenacity has a lot of just like raw damage in these auto attacks. And while he is able to go for this ward that was placed about 30 seconds prior ends up being the MVP, because it means that Tenacity is able to land the cleaver knowing where the opponent is, just flashing for the extra damage off the first auto attack. And Tien ends up giving over a solo kill that he really could not have afforded to.
And here we go again. Kenvi going deep into the enemy jungle, looking for Kill, trying to spot him out, keep him behind. It's already an ACS lead as Kenvi hops over the wall into Kill's face. Gonna be able to take away one of the camps and take both as he smites down, does more damage to Kill. Thien is trying his best to show up, but he brought Tenacity with him, and that's another camp stolen away. Kill cannot be stopped. Excuse me, Kenvi cannot be stopped.
So brutal. Okay, Luger.
Ooh, Hook coming in. Now Luger takes a lot of damage. Luger gets locked down. Katsuri looking to finish the job with one more auto. Luger flashes. It's all for naught in CLG's bot lane. It looks like they might be off to the races. Hook's almost grabbing that hook, but Pume will flash it.
Wow, okay. Well, at least they are finding a bit of an advantage here in the bottom side of the map, which was a bit of a sore spot for them previously. Good hooks are giving them big opportunities, and this Ignite is going to kill him.
RJS. It's the saddest way to go down. When you just watch your enemy, they don't know, they don't have to swing at you. They just watch the burn. Cool guys don't look at explosions. RJS goes down. This game is so rough for CLG at this point. He lost a solo kill in the top lane. He lost a solo kill in the mid lane. Heel is so far behind in terms of tempo. Like, Henry hasn't even really needed to farm his own side of the jungle all that much. He's just making sure that Keel has nothing to farm. The only place where they are getting some advantage is the bottom lane, and they are still down a wave and a half of farm at 6 minutes. It's kind of a counter jungling clinic. Let's be real, Kenvi has been doing that well in this game thus far, but Tenacity, meanwhile, over on the top side, this is what we're waiting to see when the Mundo is able to start pushing in these waves, get that damage in from the Demolish, and start punishing Thien. Thien having a hard time dealing with this. He's getting a lot of damage back on his own, but Tenacity just ate a tower shot there. Now, in the Dragon Pit, a fight breaks out. Poom looking to chase after Hooks. Wants to be the better support. Supportal combat not going to come through, though. He cannot find the winner's fight just yet, as Kenvi gets a couple more autos in, but it's going to be 100 Thieves driving CLG out of their own jungle.
They're going to force Tenacity to commit the ultimate on the other side, but this is a very difficult spot. Keel, again, trying to find something. He might get a smite, but he's going to have to do it blind, go over the wall. If Philios is around, but there's no Nautilus. Hooks isn't here, and Keel, I think you just got to give this one up, man. It feels bad, but you got to do it.
He was blind. He couldn't even throw the barrel in at the right time. It's going to be stolen away with ease. And look at the 20 CS difference between Kenvi and Kill.
Yuck, and just walking to the mid lane, like RGS has tools available. I have to walk away. Yeah, has to use the ultimate defensively, and now Kenvi can just walk into the lane once again and try and take another camp away.
This is so brutal. Camps being stolen left and right. Now chasing down level 6 is Kenvi, who does have his ultimate, but the fight's going to break out on CLG's engagement. No Lamps Respite to come out. It does finally show up late, but Poom is already gone. Now Kenvi and Ryoma, they might have bit off a little more than they can chew. They are going to back off.
Alright, finally CLG are able to find a punish and kill. I mean, Kenvi is not dissuaded. He's still here.
Kenvi's just gonna keep bringing it. You gotta watch out for Hooks' hook though, because it's gonna be followed up with a Sonic Wave resonating strike. Tenacity tries to show up to defend, but Kill will be able to pick up Kenvi. Tenacity says, well, if Kenvi's not gonna get it, I'll grab it instead.
Ooh, okay. Katsuri is going to look for a potential duel in the bottom lane, but man, all over the map, we are starting to see some responses to Kenvi's insane aggression throughout this game. It's been giving him a lot of extra camps, but now 2 kills have been going over because of this crazy forward play that they're going for.
Oh no, not this again.
Not again.
Not this
Not
again. Punish coming in, that's the Ignite. Will it tick down? The answer is gonna be no. RJS will be able to stay alive this time, but already another back coming out of RJS.
God, that's so rough, man. Like, this is not a matchup that is supposed to be Lulu favored, at least not to this degree. Like, you do have these insane auto attacks early in the game that you can play with, but RJS should be able to play a little bit safer than this. You're noticing that Ryoma actually picking up the early Oblivion Orb in order to cut all of the healing from the Vladimir. And that's helping quite a bit, but it's not a position where you should be expecting the Vlad to have gotten solo killed, be down, 2.5 waves of farm in only 9 minutes.
It's a brutal situation for RJS, and it's hard to see how he really comes out of this. You're really just hoping for CLG get a team fight scenario, be able to do what they did in game number 1, but even that is a far cry with how this lane is playing out.
See what they can do. I mean, they still have plenty of tools available to them, and I want to highlight something real quick coming out from Tenacity's build. I'm pretty sure he's rushing a Warmogs, right? He's got the Kindle Gem, he's got the Giant Spell, he's trying to build up towards this one item, which has changed rather significantly, right? Ever since it moved from being in a certain total health threshold to a bonus health threshold, it's way easier to get to relatively easily just off of base levels, and I believe he should have enough at this point that this will activate in lane. You have this free Garen passive on top of all the base health that your character does scale with, so it's going to allow him to stay in lane up against Lee Sin and just grind him out in this consistent war of attrition.
It's already kind of happening. CTN with his 1 death, Tenacity has 1 kill, so rough spot for Lee Sin to be, especially in the early game. Now Kiel, speaking of rough spots, trying to make his own way into this game as he starts rotating around this mid lane. But it's going to be 100 Thieves faster to try and punish RJS. Kiel wants none of it. Not going to go for that engage whatsoever. Instead, just going to back off. They're happy having that vision over towards the bot side jungle of 100 Thieves, but what can you really do with that vision at this point of the game?
Jeez, Ryoma is just so aggressive at this point. RJS has to back away, and I think we're going to see the Herald likely drop here, at least 1 plate to go down, but we also have a Dragon to go for, which hasn't been touched on just quite yet, and buddy, you don't have a large enough window to do that anymore. Keel, you just don't have that tool anymore.
And when you know that Dragon is going to be something that's contested very, very soon, like Emo, Plague, and Explosive Cast, they're very, very vital to the way CLG is going to team fight.
It's brutal. Now we're going to see Tenacity and Tien scrap. As long as Tenacity doesn't die, he wins this trade.
Dragon Rage comes out, here comes Kill, but it's going to be hard to chase the Mundo. Tenacity runs straight towards the wave, gets hit by the Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike comes out, but Tenacity bullies him away. Now Kill trying to deal with Tenacity. No one's coming up to help Tenacity. He's bought a lot of time, and he's done a lot of damage. You see at the end right there, using the Safeguard to be able to get some health back. Trying to sidestep the Sonic Wave. Flashes, not able to get the outplay. Tenacity will go down, but it took a hell of a lot out of CLG to be able to get that kill.
Good patience on Tien to save the Q, but it does mean that while Kill is up here, a Dragon goes down. They're going to be looking for a potential dive here as they clear out some vision. Kenvi hops the wall, looks for a potential roam from Ryoma.
Well, there comes in the hook onto Luger. Going to try and chain it with some
is the number 10 currently in the league. They are so far ahead in terms of their standings. We're expecting 100 Thieves to be able to cleanly walk away with them, and they felt that. They felt so confident. You saw how aggressive Kenvi was. Now they might be biting off a little bit more than they can chew because the Gragas that was so far behind isn't going to be as important anymore.
CLG, can they do it? We called them the comeback kids. They're kind of showing why. They do have a lot of fight in them, and they have a ruthless mentality that says, hey, if we lose, so what? We're going to take that loss on the chin, and we're going to continue into the next game. That's something I've heard their coach outright say, and it's something that's proving true every time I watch this squad.
Okay, again, trying to get this war. They are going to take it down. Notably, Ryoma has Ignite. He does not have Teleport, so when he's on the opposite side of the map, it does mean that there is an opportunity for CLG to be aggressive. They can look for these engages. They have the Nautilus. They have the Gragas. They can get these fights started if they actually want them. So, 100 Thieves does need to be a little bit cautious. They have some scaling tools. They have the Kindred Lulu Mundo, but they're also going up against some insane scaling in the Fearless and Black.
Run, Ryoma, run! Here comes the boogeyman. His name is Thien, but will not find Ryoma. Neither will kill. Predator was popped for that, I believe, as well. So, a lot invested there. 100 Thieves are instantly going to respond by going after Baron. Falling lower and lower. About 4k health remains. The rest of CLG looking to get in on this. They have no spite to contest. Out comes the depth charge, but Hemo Plague going to be matched. RJS tries to find the backline damage, but he's unable to get anything but death. Kill shows up, Thien shows up, but it's all too late now. Now Kill pushing Kenvi closer, guaranteeing his demise. It's a double kill going over to Kenvi. Thien making the long way out of this one. 100 Thieves, they read CLG's play, they respond to it perfectly.
Takes 35 seconds to get from bottom lane towards the Baron. Tien might be getting caught. Tenacity, unfortunately, doesn't have enough crowd control to hold them for a Poom, but 35 seconds once Kill shows in the bottom lane that they know they're going to have a 4-on-3 for the rest of 100 Thieves. They're going to use this opportunity. They have the Baron, they take the mid lane inhibitor turret, and now they can back away. We are on, I believe, a Cloud Rift, so they can go ahead and grab that if they want, or they can back away, spend all their freshly earned gold, come back onto the map, and suddenly 100 Thieves, who have been trailing in kills but up in gold this entire time, now that they've equalized, are super far ahead.
And this was a great play. Look at the mini-map right now. The jungler and top laner are so far away from Baron. There's not much CLG could do to really stop this. Not even the damage they bring could do anything about this.
RGS just doesn't do enough by himself, and Katsuri can't get in. There's still enough threat on the backline when you don't have both your Lee Sin and Gragas trying to stop them. And it's a little unfortunate that Kill goes down. A slightly misplaced explosive cask does mean that Kenvi can get in range, but it just results in the same thing no matter what. The Baron is picked up by 100 Thieves. They're barreling forward. They grab another dragon, and the only question now is where do they want to go? They push out the bottom lane. They want to pick up the inhib first. They have a lot of freedom, and with multiple members of CLG as far away as they really can be on the map, 100 Thieves don't know this, but they can do either, or maybe both.
That's basically what they're going for at this point. You see Luger pushing in that mid wave like we saw in game number 1 with the rest of 100 Thieves going over towards this bot side inner tower. Then we'll most likely see that rotation. Push the waves in, keep the pressure up, rotate from lane to lane, keep CLG guessing as 100 Thieves keep marching forward.
Okay. See where they're going to be moving. They're going to be trying to take down this inhibitor turret. They already got the mid lane one, and they are doing damage with the minions. It's a couple of skill shots go wide, but they should be able to take this down a little bit slowly.
Corruption will not find. Hooks gets found. RJS, now the closest member in, will put out the Hemo Plague, but out comes the Lamb's Respite. Going to completely negate that as Katsuri gets cut down by a piercing arrow. Poom and Tenacity dive on in, trying to find the back line. They're unable to get too much else. It is a Vladimir, very hard champion to take down, but inhibitors are now exposed, and 100 Thieves are going to deconstruct both the bot and mid lane ones.
Wow, they're going to be able to pick this up. They have a 5v3. They're looking to potentially end the game right now.
Oh, they're going right in, trying to find Thien. Thien gets to the spawn. RGS not gonna find it. Kill goes golden, but only delays the inevitable. Another kill goes in. It's gonna be RJS grabbing one. Another one falls. Thien trying so hard to get into that respawn fountain. CLG getting melted. Thien goes for the back line, but Mundo says no. 100 Thieves will finish up the rest of CLG, but a new challenger has appeared. Katsiri comes fresh off the respawn. It is a very tanky Mundo you got to deal with as Luger tries his best to wail away at this Nexus tower. Another piercing arrow goes off and boom! Gets pierced by Katsiri. CLG somehow make the defense. Hubris is all you can say coming out of 100 Thieves.
All right, does RJS teleport? He is. He's going to teleport over towards the Raptors. Is he going to spot anyone? He's trying to find Luger, but they don't know exactly where he is. They've narrowed down the options. Oh, Luger is going to end up falling here, but it is just an extra. He did all that damage to RJS? Yeah, he just respawned, so that was actually surprisingly close. It is going to be nice to buy a couple, seconds of respite, but they're not going to be able to do much of anything with it. Look how far back all of their waves are. At best, they might get the top lane outer here.
There's not really much they can find. I mean, there's still 2 outer turrets left. One of the big reasons 100 Thieves could freely walk down the mid and bot lane without worrying about what's going on topside, you had a very healthy turret up there to push the wave back, and 100 Thieves, they have very few flaws working for them other than their own ego, really.
Okay, I mean, we'll see that a little bit here, right? Like, they just know that they can go for, and they're just kind of playing a bit, very confident, as you said. They can go very aggressive in this entire thing, and we recognize that they just want to fight over and over and over again, but CLG, at least 100 Thieves know what they're looking to do. They're always looking to fight, where CLG don't have the same kind of consistency across the team. They aren't playing as a unit, and they're just giving up so much because some people want to fight, but some people really don't.
Yeah, this last little bit right here at the end, fighting so hard to go back to that fountain, engage, go back to that fountain, engage, but ultimately, CLG are able to fight 100 Thieves out of the base. Let's see if they can do it again. RJS now waiting in the wings to find that Chemo Plague. 100 Thieves going more and more forward. Final inhibitor tower is going to go down. RJS is getting critically low, though. He's forced to use the Blood Pool. Bien has nowhere to safeguard. He just used it to protect RJS. And now Mundo will run a train right through CLG as 100 Thieves delete CLG. Left, right, front, center. The Nexus exposed, and this is going to be the game right here. Everything else is just for show. 100 Thieves showing why they're our first place squad, taking this 2-0 to CLG, and of course gotta get the Mundo dance on, gotta get that flex on. Slams his head against the Nexus. This is all she wrote right here. 100 Thieves 2-0 CLG.
There it is, 100 Thieves making us look clean. Look, even the observers are putting up the 2-0 before the Nexus is destroyed. We all know what's happening. It's just a matter of time, as it does end up going down. Once again, 100 Thieves. It wasn't the cleanest thing in the world, but hey, you got the dub at the end of the day. They're going to be cleaning this up with 2 victories over CLG and maintaining their sole possession of first place.
Can we talk about Kenvy's 14 kills, by the way? Kenvy was really, really active that game. In fact, almost that whole game was the Kenvy show, starting from very early on in the counter jungling that we had seen.
It really put Keel in such a disastrous position, basically from minute 1, where he was behind multiple camps. He didn't know what was going on, and Kenvy just had the read and continued to push him out of his jungle over and over again. So it was a situation where eventually they got punished for it a little bit, but the damage was already done. Keel didn't have a way back in. Yeah,
Thien fought as best as he could. Kill as well, but at the end of the day, 100 Thieves just looked too good. Kenvy, Ryoma, Luker, Tenacity, Poom, they're all amazing players individually. You have to have your hats off to this roster.
I'm really excited for this 100 Thieves roster overall. As we already say, we saw all of them from 100 Thieves Next. They are now doing really well throughout this entire Academy season. And as we saw, it's not entirely roses, right? They are making some mistakes here and there, but these are all very fixable things. These are all things that their coaches can work with them on refining. These are all very talented players, and you just need to make sure that they're always cognizant of things going on around them. So this 100 Thieves roster has a bright future ahead of it.
Yeah, and taking a look at these replays, there was chances here and there for CLG, but 100 Thieves were very, very quick to the trigger in a lot of these fights. CLG in this latest fight here, you kind of had hope when you see everything come together the right way, when RJS is able to get that Hemo Plague, but Man, is Tenacity one beefy boy.
Yeah, it sounds like we're going to get an interview with him coming up rather soon, but he finds a number of solo kills and outplays. It feels like he was the one person who never really went down to TN. There was the one time that he died up in the top side of the map where a kill came through and is this really prolonged 1v2, but other than that, Tenacity seemed to really have TN's number every single time, and if you can take down the one member who's been looking strong, you're going to be in a fantastic spot for the rest of the game.
I love seeing Mundo play, and that was exactly why with some of the stuff we saw at Tenacity, but this play right here was quite wild. What we kept seeing in a lot of these fights was engage into engage into engage into engage. Like, the fight would just continue. And at times, it would look good for CLT. At times, it would look good for 100 Thieves. But ultimately, 100 Thieves, they were just the more coordinated team. They were quicker at responding to what CLG did. Like, for example, that bot lane play. CLG committed so much to try and take out Ryoma. 100 Thieves are like, well, if you're sending your jungler down there, you know how long it takes to get up to Baron Joshi. That is the response for 100 Thieves.
It was exciting to see what they're able to do with it. I think that if I were to watch this back, I think you have some very clear things that you can talk about, but you also have to praise the coaching staff a little bit for the early game, right? Typically, what I've talked to a lot of coaches and what they say that they do is, one, they help with draft prep, they help get people in the right mindset, but they also really focus on trying to find what the plans are going to be for the first couple of minutes. And to get a little bit more insight into that, we actually have the top laner of 100 Thieves, Tenacity, ready to talk to us in this post-game interview.
Yo.
Tenacity, hello.
Yo.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you to have me.
All right. First things first, I did want to ask you a little bit about the whole 100 Thieves experience. You are someone who's come up with Kenvi from 100 Thieves Next, coming into 100 Thieves Academy, and so far it's been stellar performances. How has it felt taking that transition?
I felt pretty good. I think everything's been mostly pretty smooth. A bit rough around the edges like last split, but I think this year, or like this split, we're doing really, really well. And we're very cohesive as a team, so that's been great. Work is definitely there.
So, speaking of that, as you have had this big transition from being a team that we all looked as, you know, doing quite well to being sole possession of first place, what has really fed into that? Like, what changes have you made to get this new heights of 100 Thieves?
Well, I think with the introduction of Reaper, he's actually introduced a lot of systems between like LCS and Academy. So it just feels like everyone is more like cohesive together. And I don't know, that's a big part of it. And also just like with time, we're going to get better, obviously. Like, we're streaming LCS more, right? So it just makes sense that we're doing better now.
All right, and the last thing I want to ask personally is the Mundo pick. It was a spicy one. We saw some action going on with how you played it and how high risk you were going with it. Why don't you walk me through that one?
Oh, dude, I was actually so bored. I literally just first time to ship, like 100% first time. I like I was reading abilities and stuff, but I mean, it seemed okay. We needed like a tank, right? Like we have Kinder Lulu Braum, so like it sounded
That's
good.
confidence.
So.
That's confidence right there.
Yeah, that was kind of OP.
All right, Tenacity, we want to thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you the best of luck with the rest of the season.
All right, thank you.
All right, first picking in Academy, like, screw the scrim, screw solo queue, we're just going to blind it in Academy itself. Respect for that level of confidence out of Tenacity.
See, I kind of wonder when you hear things like that, is that Tenacity asking for it, or is it Golden Glue being like, hey, do you want to play Mundo? Because it just looks really good here. And he's just like, you know, they have to both agree. It's like, yeah, just lock in the Mundo. That's what we want to play today. And it looked pretty good.
It looked damn good. That's all I can really say about it. But that's going to do it for that matchup. We do have another one coming up, and that's going to be Evil Geniuses versus FlyQuest. We're going to take a short break. When we return, we'll get into just that. So be sure to stay tuned.
Verizon believes everyone deserves the best. That's why we start with 5G from America's most reliable network.
Verizon 5G is next level.
Then give families plans to mix and match, so you only pay for what you need starting at $35.
You get so much more than this, a great network.
And offer the best in entertainment on select unlimited plans, like Disney+, Hulu, and ESPN+, as well as Discovery+, with a Galaxy S21 plus 5G when you buy one. There's no reason to settle for less than the best, only from Verizon.